Turning down the TV a little bit. Good morning. Good morning. What time is it? It is 10:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is it. I got up this morning and took my son to school, my youngest, took him to school, and came back, did my little November exercise challenge. Today was core day, so did that, and then pack a few things. And I thought I would come on and share a little bit about what's happening. So it's my anniversary today, year 15, 15 years. It's amazing, actually. Um, so a little bit about me and my husband and our love story. So Christopher is my husband, and we met at work. We both worked for a residential treatment program where we call them state ward children. So kids who were taken from their parents for whatever reasons was put into the system, and our agency, our company had custody of these children. So I did all things education, and my husband did all things residential. So I took care of placing them in school, IEP meetings, tutoring. If they got trouble in school, I was the front line. I would go to the school, talk to the principals, social workers, all the things, teachers, and got them summer jobs and bank accounts and all the things, just life skill, bringing in a lot of different people to help with different things, right? So I was considered to be on the clinical team. I would meet with the rest of the team once a week, with the psychiatrist and the director and the assistant director and, all the things, and talk about all the levels of care that they had. On occasion, I'd have to go to court to cover for a member of my team, and my husband was on the residential side. So his he would transport them to and from school, to and from home visits, sometimes church, take them to church, help them with like daily stuff as far as staying on schedule, like wake up and shower and change and go down to breakfast and, all that kind of stuff. And so that's how we met. We both worked for the same company in two different departments. And we would have small conversations. I knew he was a believer because he shared with me that he was a believer. I'm a believer. And so we would, when we would see each other on like Monday mornings or whatnot, we would talk about, hey, so what did your pastor preach about? Yesterday, all that kind of stuff. And we would have good conversation. And I noticed that he was super interested in me, but I was on the fence because we both work for the same company, and that can kind of go messy. So I was really intentional about, would this work? If it doesn't work out, would it impact my work life? And I'm a no drama girl. So I was like, I don't know. So I try to, kind of not go there. He didn't like ask me out outright. He would just like a lot of compliments. You smell great, and you look great, and how are the kids? Because I had been married before. My first marriage was 13 years. Had kids from that marriage, and then had another quickie marriage that was over before it began, like less than a year. And so, I had some issues, right? I have a family. What does dating look like when you have kids? And, is he the right guy and all the things, right? And so, but he was really great with the kids at work. And we even had taken our work kids on some events, like community events. And he was just like a big teddy bear. He didn't, he was really like super patient and loving, and, was like a common, he brought like a common kind of situation to when we had crises with these children. And so, um, one of the kids did some damage to my vehicle, and I had heard that another staff member had experienced that, like a kid damaged their vehicle. And so I wanted to talk to that staff to see, how did you report it? Did they give you a hard time about covering your deductible? The ins and outs. And so that particular staff was not there. And log on um the floor where the children were, right? So they had boy floor and girl floors. So this was the male floor that I went to find the staff, and he wasn't there. So in the staff log, I left the staff a note, and I put my phone number. And that's how my now husband got my direct phone number, because I did not share that. Right. And like straight off, he started like texting me, how are you? And, I find you attractive and all this stuff. And I thought I thought he was coming on kind of too heavy. And so I was like, what? No. So I didn't respond to any of his text messages for like 3 weeks. So, and when I would see him at work during those 3 weeks, I would avoid him. I would totally avoid him. And so finally, I responded to his text message, because it wasn't 1, 2, 3. He kept texting. So finally, I responded to his text message, and we just kind of started a conversation from there. And we had a lot in common with regards to our faith. He had a daughter from a previous relationship, and of course I had kids from 2 previous marriages. And so, we had that in common, and we would just text and call. We were on the phone like hours in the morning, hours at night. Like I used to fall asleep talking to him on the phone, right? So yeah, that's how we started. We I think we talked on the phone for a good, maybe a couple of months, and then he asked me out, and we went on our first date. We went on our first date to Applebee's. It's still like an important place for us. We go there often. We order and pick up, and we go on our anniversary sometimes, and we eat in. So we went to Applebee's, and this was interesting. They put us at a booth, and he did not sit on his side of the booth. He came over and sat next to me. And I thought that was like, I'm like, this is ballsy. Like, this dude, like, what the heck? So he sat next to me. He didn't try anything or anything like that, but we were talking, and we were like close, right? Because on the booth, we're right next to each other. And on our first date, he said, "You're going to be my wife," is what he said. And I was like, we'll see about that. I had a little toot. I had a little attitude. You hear my puppy? Let me let her out. This is Penny Girl, and she's making all this noise while I'm doing a live. So let me let her out. So I just let her out in my backyard there. So yeah, so he was like, "Yeah, you're gonna be my wife," and I was like, "We'll see about that," right? And from there, it was just like he would come over to my house like almost every night. Um, he was on afternoons and I was on days. So he would come over and we would sit on the couch and we'd watch TV and we'd talk and, had all the conversations, previous relationships, all the things. What are you looking for in a wife? I expressed to him what I was looking for in a husband, all the things. So we would talk and talk and talk. And I went away to Quebec for like a week. I had taken some time off of work and went to visit my family in Quebec, Canada. And while I was there, we were on the phone all the time, like all the time. Like when he wasn't at work, we were on the phone. And so my family was like, what's happening? What's going on? And so I had to tell them about this guy I was courting. And my uncle talked to him on the phone. My aunt and my cousins, they talked to him on the phone. And I came back and we kept on, we didn't go on a lot of like physical dates. It was more like coming over. We'd go to the movies, things like that in between my kids' schedule, right? When they would go with their dad every other weekend. And 3.5 months after we started courting, I was taking a trip to Jamaica to visit my mom. And apparently, he had spoken to the kids, my kids, and asked their permission if he could propose. And so, 3.5 months in from our courting, he popped the question, and I said yes. And 9 months to the date that we started courting, we got married. We got married November 13th of 2009. And I have to say that um, he is the best guy I've ever like married, courted, like the best guy. He did, but their lifestyles did not measure up to that. And so, and he loves me, right? He loves me in a way that I've never been loved. Um, he holds the door for me. So chivalry is not dead. He holds the door for me. He's always checking on me. Like, do you need anything? Like he is amazing, amazing. And we've gone through different seasons of our marriage. Blended families. We had, ex-husband drama and ex-girlfriend drama, kids drama, all the things, right? Because it's his, hers, and ours, which they're really all ours now. But just really being in a marriage where God is number one, where we spend time praying together, we spend time doing devotions together, we do it as a family unit, we go to church. But one of the really super cool things that I really love about my husband is we make time for date night. um, it's like non-negotiable. We make time for just us, and then we make time for us and our kids. He he's super romantic. I'm romantic, but he's more romantic than me, which is cool. But he writes love letters and cards and chocolate and flowers. I get flowers at least twice a month. I don't ask, I don't remind, none of that. He's like on it. He brings me home, the chocolates that I love, which is the Rochers. And I'm a nut girl, like milk chocolate combined with almonds are like my stuff. He brings that home for me all the time, like all the things, all the things. We are music people, so we go to a lot of concerts, a lot of concerts. A lot of them are like Christian concerts. We travel. One of the things that I was able to influence him in is I'm a big traveler. I love to travel. I've lived all over the world. Um, and have traveled all over the world. And he had been to, I think, like Georgia and Alabama and maybe Florida. And so he has gotten, because of me, gotten the travel bug. So now we like go to a lot of different places in different countries together, and he loves it. So what I will say, if you're a woman or a male of a particular age, I was high 30s when I got married to my husband. And I will say, be completely open, be completely transparent with them as to what it is that you're looking for. But even before you do that, pray and ask God to send you your husband. If you're a woman, you shouldn't be looking. God is supposed to send you your husband, because the scripture says, he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. And so I'm old school in that way. I don't pursue. I am perched, you know, sitting pretty. I prayed to God and asked him what I wanted in a husband. And while I didn't get everything on my list, God gave me exactly what I needed. My husband is amazing. And so I want to say a few things about that is love is possible. I believe every person has a person. And I believe, especially if you're a person of faith, God will give you the husband that you need, right? I will say that my previous relationships, there were all the flags and I ignored them. There were all the flags that they were not my person and I ignored them. I thought, oh, their issue, it won't be an issue with me. Big mistake. Big, 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 big mistake. Pay attention, and what you see, do not make excuses for. And if you believe that they go against what you imagine and what you need for yourself in a marriage, don't enter. Don't enter. I could have saved myself so much heartache, so much, crazy, had I paid attention to the signs. But I will say that God is really good. Like, he is the master of turning a mess into a message, of making beauty from ashes. Because while those relationships were not right, those marriages were not right, and those were not my people, um, my children, the product of those marriages, I would do it all over again for my children, because I don't believe that God makes mistake. He definitely cleans up after our messes, and my children are a blessing. But pay attention. You cannot fix anybody. If you go into a relationship or a marriage thinking that you're going to fix the other person, you're going to be disappointed. You are going to be disappointed. For a marriage to work, it has to be a three chord. The Bible talks about the three chords, right? It's you, your husband, and God, for a marriage to work. And if one piece isn't working, it's not going to work. You can't force it. And so that's the beautiful thing about my husband now, is he is always willing to work on our marriage, right? Nobody's perfect. We all got issues, right? But he is always willing to work on our marriage. We include God in our marriage. Like, if we got an issue, we're praying about it together. We're, fasting about it. We're seeking wise counsel, in our pastors, or people who have been married a long time, who are believers, and we're working it out, right? That is, I would say that that is a major important piece in a marriage, right? You have to be on the same page. You have to both be willing to fight for it, to work for it, right? Some of the great things about, like, my husband, like, I know that he loves me, like, all out. Like, he would do anything for me. I remember there was a season where my husband worked three jobs to provide for our family. I unfortunately, I suffered two, well, we, because it was us together. So we suffered two miscarriages back to back, right? Um, 2010 and 2011. And they were far along pregnancies. Um, After number two, I had to take some time off of work. Different things happened. My dad passed away. I had to pack my whole family up, and we went to Jamaica to plan his funeral and be with my mom. And I took some time off of work. I wasn't working. And during that same time, I found out I was pregnant for the third time. I was pregnant, and, right away, it was a high risk pregnancy, and there was all this stuff, testing and bed rest and all the things. And my husband worked three jobs at the time to make sure that I could, you know, be on bed rest to try to preserve this pregnancy. And, he was like in between the three jobs, was still like getting kids to school and picking kids up and making sure, we had all the groceries in the house. Like when I tell you, um, that just watching him in that season, I had never seen that before. There was always a part of me, and it's out of childhood stuff and then failed relationships, but there was a part of me that kind of believed that that kind of love wasn't possible, like I wasn't deserving and worthy of that kind of love. But boy, did he prove me wrong, and keeps proving me wrong, right? But yeah, he was like, you just stay in the bed. You just focus on, doing everything the doctor says. I got the rest. And really and truly, it was just mind blowing, inspiring that he was willing to, like, because it's a lot, it's heavy, right? He was willing to carry the weight of that and never complained about it, right? Never complained about it. And even in the season where, we lost babies, I fell apart, and he stepped up and handled everything. Just making sure the kids were good, making sure I was good. I wasn't good, but providing everything that I needed to heal and to recover. And it's possible. Like true love, authentic, unconditional love is possible. And today is 15 years. We've been together 16 years total, but 15 years together. We've definitely had our ups and downs, but he's the kind of guy, he's like, listen, I'm not leaving. Whatever it is, we're going to talk about it. We're going to work on it. We're going to fix it. But you're my person, right? He is amazing, amazing, amazing. So if you're single, um, and particularly because, I'm not a guy, I don't know guy stuff. But if you're single, if you're a believer, I would say pray and ask God, right? In the book of Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision and make it plain. That's one of my life scriptures, right? You need to, and the Lord revealed that to me when I was single. He revealed that to me, like, you need to write down, what kind of husband are you desiring? And I did. I wrote it down. And the number one thing that I had on there was he had to be a believer, like our faith level had to be similar, not exact, but similar, right? He needed to believe in Jesus, and have like a real life relationship with Jesus, right? Let my dog back in. Penny, Penny, come, mama, come. Good girl. All right, go home, mama, go home. Good girl. That was the number one thing, that he had to have a real, ongoing, authentic relationship with the Lord. And number two, I needed him to love my children like they were his. Because one of the marriages that didn't work was the main reason. He was not open to like that whole one big happy blended family. He had issues with a particular child of mine. And for me, that was a deal breaker. So, he had to love, love, love my kids and, would do anything for my kids. And he has. Oh my gosh, we've been through so many seasons of teenage issues, of, you know, ex-husband issues and ex-girlfriend baby mama issues, and he is like been in the thick of it, wanting to work it out, um in a way that was best for our family, right? It was like, this is our core group right here, and wanting to preserve this, wanting to preserve a happy home where all of our children felt wanted, needed, was cared for, had everything that they needed, right? It wasn't like, oh, my kids are better than your kid, your child, because he only had one and I had three. It wasn't like that, right? Um, and oh my goodness, that has blessed my heart. I knew blended family, happy blended family. I knew that that existed because my mother was a product of a blended family that was happy. There was no treating the kids different and, all that crazy. Me personally, I've been a part of that. My bio dad was never in the picture. And my bonus dad that God blessed me with, that was my dad. And from day one, he was like, this is my daughter. We were one family. He never treated me different, right? He never treated me different. So I knew it was possible. And then the way God worked it out, my husband is from a blended family, a successful blended family. And so God knew what he was doing when he aligned and organized all of that, right? So yeah, I knew it was possible and that's what I wanted, and God gave me that. Um, so it's possible. So if you're a believer, if you're a woman, and if you're a believer, I do not believe that God created women to pursue the guys. I don't believe that. I believe that God created the man to pursue the woman. And so I love that about my husband. He's a man's man. He pursued me and continues to, like the cards and the flowers and the date night and the gifts and the holding the door and the providing. Yes, we work together. I have a job and he has a job, and together we manage our family finances. But he is definitely the head, right? I'm the neck and he's the head, right? We have to work together. But it is possible. uh, Pray and ask God, make your list of what it is that you are desiring for in a husband. Pray about it and wait on God. I did not go looking. I actually tried to run from him. When I saw that he was interested, and because we worked at the same job, I was like, I don't know about this. So he would be coming down this hallway and I'd be coming down this hallway. And when I saw him, I would do a U-turn. I would dip and dive, trying to like avoid it. But definitely it was God ordained, God orchestrated, and he is still like keeping us together. When I say that we truly love each other and we show up for each other in all the things, right? In all the levels. Like sometimes their situation where the kids are trying to like do their thing, be the kids, be the teenager, trying to be messy, and it's like, wait a second. It's me and him against y'all. You're not going to say, oh, dad said and mom said, and try to create this division. Nope, 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 nope. We are one family, but at the end of the day, it's me and him against y'all. We agree. And it's whatever we agree together is how we're going to move with you kids, because they will try it. They will try, and they have tried it. But really God has given us wisdom in our entire marriage, how we met, how we've moved, up until today, right? It's both of our longest relationships, and I could truly say that we're happy, right? We're not perfect, but we're happy. We are committed to each other. We're committed to our marriage. We're committed to making it work. So stuff does come up sometime, in-law drama stuff come up sometimes. And we've had to sit down and, had conversations about, hey, I'm not cool with this. Are you cool with this? Like, how are we going to move forward? Because what's important is that we always show up unified, whether it's against the kids, whether it's against the world, whether it's against our in-laws. It's like we show up unified, right? Because we are together. The Bible talks about, and the two shall become one. And that's in a lot of areas. That's like with, against your mom, against the kids, against the world, or even friends will come in and try to, plant seeds and divide. Mm-mm. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are one. And I really appreciate that, especially because I've had the opposite, right? I've lived the opposite, right? And now I'm living the complete opposite of that, right? So if you're single, you're a woman, and you're a person of faith, um, pray, write down your list of the most important things. Don't be all petty, like, oh, he's got to be 6'11" or whatever. To me, that's like superficial. I didn't care nothing about the superficial things. So definitely write your list of non-negotiables. And again, be really thoughtful about what they are, right? Um, write your list, pray about it, and wait. And wait. And when people come into your life, pray and ask God, is this the person? And you'll see right up front, you will see the red flags right up front if that's not your person. Do not compromise your standards. Those non-negotiables, do not compromise. Like, for me, faith fidelity is up there. Like, nope, I've been on the other side of that. We're not doing that again. I'm not doing that again. So, those are some of the things that were my non-negotiables, and we had conversations about them, like, upfront. I laid it all on the table when we were courting, like, hey, you know um my older son at the time had a lot of challenges. I talked about that, ADHD, acting up in school, sometimes defiant, all those kinds of things. I laid it all out. I did not hide anything. And in relationships, people sometimes, they say the representative will show up. You have to look for that, right? Don't hide things. Talk about everything. And we talked about every single thing. I was so transparent, because in my previous marriages, for first one, I was 19. I was a kid, right? So I didn't have the conversation. We didn't do the premarital counseling, all the things, right? The third time around, I did all the things. I did all the things I did not do the first two times. So have the conversation, be fully transparent, go to premarital counseling, like, talk about all the things, sex, right? Money, where do you want to live, family, life dreams, your goals, where do you want to be, how much money you want to make, all the things. Talk about, do not leave any stones uncovered. I did that. And in me doing it differently with my husband, um it's our relationship, our marriage is beyond my wildest dreams, in regards to how solid our love is, how deep our love is, like how we show up for each other. Like, we're never too tired. Like, we say stuff like, I love you to the moon and back, and like for real, like for real. Like, that's how much we love each other, that we would go to the moon and back and back and back and back and back and back again. So, love is possible whether you're 30 or 40 or 50, turning 52. He's turning 55. Love is possible at any age, at all age, but definitely pray about it. Definitely tell God what it is that you are desiring out of a marriage. And definitely pay attention to the signs. And if they don't align, don't try to make it work. Do not try to make it work, because it may work temporarily, but it won't work long term, especially if they're like big non negotiables, faith and fidelity, and things like that, right? Do not compromise. Do not make excuses for poor behavior. Do not make, who is it? It's Maya Angelou's, that said, when people show you who they are, believe them. This girl, I wasn't always like that. You know, I think because I'm like a really compassionate and empathetic person, that for so many years I made excuses like, oh, they had an awful childhood. They won't be like that with me. Oh, they don't know what true love is. Those kinds of things. Girl, don't do it. Don't do it. If they had a messed up childhood, then they need to go get therapy. They need to figure that out. They need to be praying and fasting, and the Lord need to be delivering them and all that kind of stuff. It's not your job to fix a person. You cannot fix a person. And oh my goodness, had I recognized and understood that when I was younger, I would have saved myself so much pain, so much drama. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, no, you can't fix people. You can help people who want to be helped. There's a difference. But if someone doesn't believe that, one, they got a problem, and two, they need to, get some therapy and sort through, right? Have a come to Jesus, encounter with things that they know are not right, then you can't fix them. You can't talk somebody into being fixed. They have to want to have a better life. They have to want differently than they saw growing up and all the things. Because I don't really know anybody who had a perfect upbringing, right? So we're all coming from some kind of place, but you cannot let how you were raised, if it was bad, if there's definitely trauma and scars from that, you can't let that define the person that you will be today, right? You've got to figure that out. And so, yeah, 16 years later, here we are. What are we doing for our anniversary? So, one of the things that we've incorporated is, in our relationship, in our marriage, is that we take a trip on our anniversary. So, whether it's a staycation or a out of country or out of state getaway, we have incorporated that. And so this year, we are staying in Michigan. I live in Michigan. For those of you that follow me, we live in Michigan, and we are going to Kalamazoo, Michigan, for a getaway. We're leaving in a few hours. It's 11:29 my time now, so we're leaving around 12:30. I'm not going to say where we're going because I'm going to do a different video on that, but it's approximately 2.5 hours away. And I'm all packed except for my toiletries. I've got to pack my toiletries, but everything else is packed. We've got to schedule, the kids, who's picking up the kids from school and where they're, all the things, their schedule is all set. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited. We love spending time together. whether it's going to the concert or going to the movies, or we're just over there on the couch, watching something, Netflix and chill or whatever. We love being together with no kids. We love being together with kids too, but because we spend family time together, but we love our alone time. It's a priority. So we go on dates, at least 1 to 2 times a month. We go on dates, just him and me. And every anniversary, we do some kind of getaway. And on his birthday, we do some kind of getaway too. I started that a long time, like in the beginning of our marriage, I started that. So we get away at least twice a year on his birthday weekend and on our anniversary. So I'm excited about our trip. It's cool here. I think it was in the 30s this morning. So I got my jacket packed because where we're going, it's closer to the water. And so that means it's cooler. So it's kind of like winter. Last year we went to Vegas. That was our anniversary trip last year. And was it last year or 2 years ago? 2 years ago, we went to Vegas. Then last year we went to Puerto Rico. And so this year we're staying in Michigan, but we're doing the tourist Michigan. So yeah, it's excited to plan anniversary getaways and, have alone time. It's so important in a marriage. And so, yeah, after kissing two frogs and, going through all the things with the frogs, I got my prince. God sent me my prince, Christopher, and we are perfectly matched for each other. We are happy. He's actually open to it. We said we were going to start doing me. I talked to him about that we should do some videos on couple stuff, like blend, especially us, because we've been through the ringer with the blended family situation. But we should do some love and marriage and blended family videos. He's open to it. So I got to really do it because I've asked him like a bunch of times and he's like, yeah, 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 yeah. But then I didn't follow up with, all right, let's put it on his calendar and let's actually do it. Because um, I think like giving advice, especially what has worked for us, and our marriage has endured like quite a bit. And we're here after 15 years. We're here and going strong. And really, we tell each other all the time, like we're like wine, we get better with time. Because while it was good in the beginning, I feel like every year we get better and better and better and better and better. And so I feel like definitely that's something that we can share with the world, with other couples, whether they're couples already or they're wanting to be a couple, they're wanting to be in a marriage, just, anything to kind of help. Because like this whole dating world, I scratch my head all the time. Like, I watch 90 Day Fiance. My husband is not a reality TV person, but I do like some reality TV. And some of the stuff that I see, and then my daughter, share information that, stuff that she knows that's going on in her friend circle. And I'm like, OMG, I'm so glad that I never have to deal with that kind of stuff. Like, because dating and courting, it looks so differently now than 16 years ago when we were courting, right? It is like the world has definitely changed. And so I feel like even though the world is changed, I feel like if we're believers, we should stay grounded, right? On how God says marriage and relationship should look. I know that it's not like the popular thing to say or even believe, but definitely if God says it, who are we to debate with that? And so yeah, at some point we will do some videos, just kind of talking about our story and giving some advice. So yeah, I haven't done a live in forever and a day, and I thought today was like the perfect opportunity to jump on Chris ran out to the store to pick up a few things for the trip. And I'm like, okay, while he's gone, I'll jump on live because I haven't done live in forever. So I want to thank you. When you see this later, I hope you gain some insight into a little bit about me and my marriage and my man, and also gain some insight about love and marriage and relationships, right? So yeah, I jumped on here all, half stepping. I didn't even brush my hair. I barely have any lipstick on, just not even showered yet. So this is the raw Olivia. But yeah, wanted to jump on live and just talked about my anniversary, how we met, and a little bit about our love story. So I want to thank you so much for stopping by my channel. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, what you waiting for? Um, I'm a children's book and self help book author, a writing coach. I do a lot of workshops around that, but I also do women empowerment, girls empowerment, and definitely women of faith workshops. So, yeah, if you're new to me, that's a little bit about me. Like, subscribe, and share my videos. Go through and check out my videos. I got all kinds there. But thank you so much, and I hope you're having an amazing day. Bye, guys.